Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Tobin here. Thanks for checking us out. If you could subscribe, and then if you could also subscribe to the QAM YouTube page, 560 WQAM. I put the link in the description. Me and my guy Leroy Horde, we get after it every single day, 4 hours a day, and I would appreciate you guys tuning on in. That would mean a lot to me. Miami Heat. There was a report out there today. I'll take anything at this point. I think you guys could probably base that on the channel right now. It's a zigzag of takes just all the time because I'm just a glass case of emotion and Damian Lillard watch. So there was a report today from, let me get this guy because it's not a familiar face. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I just hadn't heard of this person, but let's just roll with it, dude. So this is from a report, Brett Siegel, who is apparently the national NBA insider and reporter for Clutch Points. Clutch Points blog, take a lot of stuff, a lot of aggregation, 6,400 followers, something like that. By the way, this is the way I usually go with it. A lot of people are very dismissive of a lot of reporters. Old Tobes, I believe everybody. If you got something, I'll sniff around. I don't care who you are. Person on Twitter, somebody may know somebody. Like, I get stuff on the text line all the time of people, and they're like, hey, I heard this, and it actually turned out to being true. The Miami streets are an interesting place. But anyway, so Brett writes, the Miami Heat have been in contact with the Portland Trailblazers this offseason regarding a potential trade involving superstar point guard Damian Lillard. And while a deal does not appear to be imminent, the Heat have been internally discussing multi-team scenarios that would result in them not only landing Lillard, but keeping emerging star Tyler Herro as well, sources tell Clutch Sports. Outside of All-Stars, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, Herro is the Heat's best overall asset and has been in the center of trade rumors this offseason. Miami has been Lillard's preferred destination. Nothing we don't know. Portland has not shown a lot of interest in accepting a package revolving around Herro. Yeah, I will say to this. So let's believe Brett that the Heat have had internal discussions. First of all, I would say, of course they've had internal discussions about that. That I don't know why anybody would shoot this down from Brett Siegel, because why wouldn't the Heat discuss, hey, is there any way we could have Damian Lillard and Tyler Herro? Is there any possibility on this earth that could happen? What is the likelihood of that? It's not like that wouldn't be a good fit. I mean, like, those guys are both, you talk about a dynamic offensive backcourt, leaves you a little bit to be desired defensively, but so like if let's say the Heat end up trading Tyler and it ends up being a Damian Lillard, Josh Richardson backcourt, something like that, you kind of have your yin and yang of offense and defense. But yeah, I don't think that that's a very surprising thing that the Heat have internally discussed trying to keep Tyler Herro. And then I would also say, as we've been talking about on this channel and on my radio show, I feel like the Tyler Herro vibes between Herro and the organization just seem better over the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, because I think when these trade discussions first started, and what are we up to, Clutch? Let me go to I got Clutch's official Damian Lillard count, so I know, otherwise it ain't real. Day 52, going into day 53 of Damian Lillard watch. So I'm sure, first of all, there's a couple of things with this report. One, if you have 53 days before of just time, I think all of us have gone through every roller coaster. We've gone through every facet, corner there is of the Damian Lillard talk. How do we get Damian Lillard? What if they don't get Damian Lillard? What should they give up for Damian Lillard? I don't want to give that up for Damian Lillard. When you have this much of a, when the trade first happened, I'm like, give everything, whatever. Give me Damian Lillard, Jimmy, bam, that's what I want. I don't care. Give me anything. And then as the days tick on and people, I think, start insulting packages, and you're like, well, F you, I want that guy. Or Jovic does something in for Serbia. You're like, I'm not going to go with Jovic. So, of course, the Miami Heat have internally discussed the idea of keeping Tyler. Could they do that? Here's the big thing. Like, if Tyler Herro, what everybody's been reporting from the start is Tyler Herro is the key to getting draft assets. And that's the big key here, because I think more than anything, nothing gives a GM a pants tent quite like draft picks, because it just signifies hope. You know, you feel like you have this flexibility. You feel like you have poker chips. You feel like you can just do stuff. You can maneuver. I'm sure Cronin will screw the pooch on it, but ultimately, before players or anything, the thing they want more than anything is draft picks. And I don't really know how the Heat get more draft picks, without giving up Tyler Herro. That would seem so, unless the Heat find themselves in a place where somebody wants Jovic so bad that they'd give up a draft pick, or Jaquez so bad that they'd give up a draft pick, or Caleb Martin and they'd give up a draft pick. Those are kind of like the plays I can think of. But I think, you know, we've known that Portland doesn't seem keen on Tyler Herro. They've said that from the start. Is that a mistake? Is it not a mistake? Whatever. Let's just say it's true. The other end of it is why people have said this is a multi-team trade is because Tyler Herro was going to be used for a draft pick. If there's a place where, like, the Heat feel they can get Damian Lillard without it having to be 4 draft picks, let's feel that the Heat are only bidding against themselves. And they're like, we unlocked our pick from OKC. You know, that's how they're going to do it. Or, you know, they sweeten up the pot with young guy, 2 picks, 2 young players, and that keeps Tyler Herro. So I don't think it's impossible, but I think that the obvious thing the entire time has been, you know, Portland probably wants about 4 first-round picks, at least 3. You have 2. You got to figure out a way to get more. And Tyler Herro seems to be the key to that. So, but has there been multiple teams? Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's just logic. I don't think that that's a crazy leap to make for the Miami Heat. Speaking of crazy leaps, by the way, did you see that the NBA, I'm sure you guys did, that they officially fined James Harden $100,000 for calling Daryl Morey a liar? And the NBA Players Association is apparently filing a grievance about this. In fact, here's the report from Tim Bontemps from ESPN. The Players Association tends to file a grievance disputing the NBA's $100K fine on James Harden over public comments he made earlier this month, expressing displeasure with the 76ers when they failed to trade him. Their statement was, "We respectfully disagree with the league's decision to discipline James Harden for his recent comments made, which we believe do not violate the rules against public trade demands." Which is an interesting thing, because it's like, it wasn't a trade demand. It was just like, you know, I can't work with Daryl Morey anymore. I'm trying to think, did Kevin Durant get fined last year? Because Kevin Durant, you know, I don't know if he ever did on the record, though, if he said that he wanted Steve Nash and Sean Marks fired. But it's happened. I mean, we've heard of guys demanding trades. They've gotten fined for stuff. I believe Anthony Davis did. Eric Bledsoe did one time on Twitter, tried to delete the tweet, and he got popped for that. I will say, though, like, look, I'll start a GoFundMe right now for $100K. Like, I feel like we could do that. If I started this movement, and the only thing I want out of this is I want to have a honeypot of money to pay Damian Lillard's fine, just so he could sit down with whomever. Chris Haynes, I would imagine, would be the guy he would be most comfortable with, because that's his guy. But it could be Chris Haynes. It could be Rachel Nichols. He can come on Tobin and Leroy. Whatever. But I want the unfiltered Joe Cronin hose down interview from Damian Lillard, which is the whole reason, by the way, the NBA went, put that statement out in the first place, because they didn't want that to happen. They essentially handcuffed Damian Lillard and his agent from doing any media. Like, that was the big part of everything, right? Like, it was just, what I found unbecoming about it is, like, this guy's been class his entire life. He said he voices displeasure one time, and now he's not allowed to talk to the media about what he's upset about. We're going to threaten discipline. But really, what can they do? They can't suspend him. They can fine him heavily. And I just feel like, you know, maybe as Heat Nation, we get the ball rolling on making a stink. Get a GoFundMe together to pay Damian Lillard's fine so he can sit down with his favorite interviewer and let it fly. To me, that would be delightful. It would be delightful. So I don't know. I don't think James Harden should have been fined either. I think that there's definitely some fishiness going on here. There's definitely some fight back from the NBA on this whole player empowerment movement, but I think it's like the damage is kind of done on James Harden, right? It's like it's James Harden. This is what his third, fourth trade demand. Like now you're fining him like that because why? Because he called Daryl Morey a liar. I don't know. It's a little bit odd to me. It's a little bit odd to me that they went in that direction, but you know, not exactly the biggest James Harden guy, so whatevs. I'm just upset that now it's like, oh, now we know what the punishment would be for Damian Lillard if he did that, and that's why they warned him. And, now I may have to, pass the hat around so we can get this going and have Lillard making a stink.